Dragon Ball Super Chapter 48, Moro's Wish. So, this chapter was surprisingly pretty good. I like the twists and turns in it, but I'm also kind of frustrated with some things, but other than that, solid, so let's get into it. So this chapter is more or less picking up where the previous one left off, with Boo just taking it to Moro, like beating him down, like unexpectedly, in my opinion, and I was a little thrown off by that, so I'll get more into it. So, it's very fun, don't get me wrong, to see Boo having some justice done to him like this, you know, taking it to Moro, having some significance to this story other than just being like supplementary to it. Like, he is really put on display in this arc. I mean, as we knew that he was going to be, but now we're finally getting around to it, and we're seeing Boo, you know, getting some stuff done. But the thing that was throwing me off is the discrepancy in power that we're seeing here. Like, technically, Boo really shouldn't be this powerful. So yes, he does have some things working for him, and on paper he is a bad matchup for Moro, which explains some things like his resistance to Moro's magic and his regeneration abilities. So we saw those two things, you know, effectively counter Moro's strategy and, you know, his overall game that he has. But still, that shouldn't be enough, and the fact that he was able to outpower and outspeed and pretty much do everything that he needed to in order to overcome Moro just seems to be a little off, because like we saw that Super Saiyan Blue was just enough to overcome Moro in like his weakened state, but now that he's even more powerful than when he was going against Blue, Boo shouldn't really be able to do this. But you know, we're finding out that there is a reasoning to his sudden increase in power, and it's when Miras lets us know that perhaps unlocking those memories somehow unleashed his latent potential. So we found out in the previous chapter that the Galactic Patrol got some dude to hypnotize and unlock the memories that Boo had. So now he's remembering his Fat Boo life, but also he's remembering the memories that the Lord of Lords has. So he's kind of has like somewhat of Professor Hulk going on. You know, like what we saw in Endgame when Banner and the Hulk were able to like merge and come together into one being. That's more or less what's going on with Boo right here, but you know, it's explaining why he is so much more powerful now. But aside from just being more powerful, it seems like Boo's intelligence, along with his like cadence and vernacular, has increased as well. And it makes sense because I guess his personality is merging with the Lord of Lords as well. You know, him retaining his memories or whatnot or whatever happened, I guess this has put him somewhere in between the two. It's not really made too clear, but like I said, something similar to what we're seeing from Hulk in Endgame. And I'm on board for that. It's pretty cool seeing Boo, you know, speak differently. He's not just the same typical childlike manner who has like ambiguous morals that we've come to know with Boo. So this is like some solid character development to him, which I think is long overdue. Like, we were kind of getting some of that in Super before the Tournament of Power when we saw like thin Boo. But then unfortunately they never really went any further than that, and he just immediately went back to being fat and just went to sleep. But you know, it's better now than never, you know, I suppose, but still pretty cool like seeing him do different techniques that we haven't seen before. Like him sprouting the 6 arms. To my knowledge, we haven't ever seen Boo do this, so maybe this is something that the Lord of Lords was able to do, and now Boo is doing this technique now that he's just simply remembered it. It's also still pretty cool how he can like detach his arms or his hands and like beat Moro and hold him down while also retaining his original form. Pretty cool sequence here. And that brings us to the portion of this chapter that I was frustrated with, and I'm talking about, of course, Cranberry summoning Purunga and making the wishes. So apparently off panel, Cranberry had been making moves, he'd been putting in some work. He took care of some Namekians, and he found that little Namekian that we've been following so far in this arc, or at least I think it's him. I think his name is like Eska or something like that. So he found them, and he was able to put like this translator that connects to his Frieza helmet, and I don't know, it works. It's like a Game Boy, you know, back in the day when you needed to connect the 2 Game Boys in order to trade Pokemon and whatnot. So he's pretty much doing that, except he's training language with him so he can make the wishes, because we know that like you need to speak Namekian or whatever the hell language they're speaking when you're, you know, making a wish to Purunga. So he does that, and of course the first wish is immediately wasted. He just gains his health back. He comes back from being damaged like the way that he was. Super frustrating, and this is just typical Toriyama, not hating on it, but he always seems to do this with the wishes. Like, we're all, you know, the wishes, we've been working towards this arc or whatever arc they're in to get to this wish, and then finally when it comes down to it, it's just wasted off of like some stupid wish. It usually happens, and it is continuing to happen here, and if you guys like it, it's fine. I'm just a little tired of this trope that Toriyama has seemed to create his own in this universe. And I'm not saying like the wishes always have to be for something that benefit the protagonist. I don't think that at all. But man, just maybe do something different. Maybe not have it just wasted on this, because I don't know. It just frustrates me, and not in a good way. Again, I'm not hating. So as this happens, everyone immediately becomes aware of what's going on, because, you know, the environment changes when you summon a dragon to make a wish from the ball. So they try to go after him to stop him from making any more wishes, but unfortunately, they do not make it there on time. And if anyone's wondering, like, why didn't Goku just use his transmission to come back and get him? Well, apparently he still doesn't have enough energy or ki to be able to achieve this feat. This happened in the previous chapter, so I guess it is still currently at this point. Now, I know it's a bit confusing because it seems like Goku and Vegeta have their power and their full energy back, but I guess that is not the case. They do look fresh because of their wardrobe change, but I guess that's still not enough. So, what we thought was going to happen happens. Moro got his full power back. I mean, they were just Chekhov's gunning this pretty much the whole entire arc, so it kind of had to happen at this point. I think it would be a little anticlimactic if he didn't get his full power back. I mean, simply, and also because this is Dragon Ball, and if there's a villain that is not at his full power, and we are aware that there is a full power that exists, you can just rest assured that that villain is going to achieve the power that they sought after, and then maybe even some more after that. And then after that, Moro takes Cranberry out, and I assumed that this was going to happen, but up until this point, I was always questioning, like, what is the significance of Cranberry? Like, why is he recurring, and why has he survived so long? I mean, there seems to be nothing of importance to this guy other than being a device for Moro to get the Dragon Balls, and then what do you know? That is what happens. He plays out his quest, his journey, the only significance of his character, and that was just to be a guy to summon Purunga while Moro had his hands tied against Boo or whoever else he was taking on. So as I was saying, Moro gains his full power from the second wish, and this is a little confusing to me. I'm not really sure how this was able to happen because, wouldn't you assume that Purunga or like a dragon from the Dragon Balls doesn't really have enough power to like make something like that happen? Like, we have to assume that Moro is already up there with God of Destructions in power. I mean, in his weakened state, he was around Super Saiyan Blue, and we can assume that before this wish was made, he was, I don't know, like close to the power of like Kaioken, maybe even above that. It's really difficult to tell exactly how powerful he is because we really haven't seen him extended at like a real comparable level of power against like Super Saiyan Blue. So we could just assume that he was around there. So at his full power, he's got to be, I don't know, close to Beerus, if not on Beerus's level. And the fact that Purunga can make him that powerful, I mean, we don't exactly know what his gas tank was like before the wish was made, so we don't know if he was at like 70% of his power after he absorbed everything, or 80%, or whatever he was doing the 3 days that Vegeta and Goku were asleep. But still, 20% or 30% of an increase on top of that, crazy amount of power. It just seems to be something out of the realm of like Purunga capable of doing, because we've seen the limitations of powers of the dragons in this series before. And I don't know, that's just my opinion. Obviously, it is not the case. Purunga clearly is canon that he has enough power to do this. It just seems a little inconsistent in my opinion, but it's fine. It happened. So then Moros goes on to use the third wish, but we are not privy to what it is. So this is like the big twist of the chapter, other than like, Moros getting the wish and Cranberry making the wish originally. This is the huge twist, is that Moros' third wish is a secret. So we'll get more into what that could be. But in the meantime, Maris picks up Goku and Vegeta, and they all travel over to where Moro is. And after the balls scatter, Moro's just standing there and like, what did you wish for? And he's like, well, you know what? I'm not going to tell you, but I don't really have the need to fight you guys anymore. And then he pieces out of there, or at least we assume so. So he actually doesn't piece out. He just goes to hide somewhere. And now he's also gained the ability of suppressing his ki so that they cannot sense where he is. So, like I said, he goes to hide somewhere, and he's like up on this cliff on like a real high up vantage point, and he's looking down on them to see what's going on. So this is interesting, and I think this is giving us insight as to what Moro's wish could possibly be. So now that he has his full power, We already know that he's not going to really wish for that, and I doubt that he's wishing for invincibility or immortality. You know, that is a popular wish amongst the villains, but that doesn't really seem like it happened here, because if he did wish for that, why would he leave? You know, because obviously he can't be stopped at this point. He's already, I don't know, it is implied to be the strongest person here, definitely now. I mean, I assume that he's way more powerful than Boo now, now that he has his full power. Or at least, I don't know, a little bit more powerful than him. I just think the power gap has definitely increased at this point. So I assume that he's wished for something to sabotage Goku, Vegeta, and Boo, or just everyone maybe. But the fact that he went to go hide and watched what they're doing means that his wish very likely involves them. So let me just put it out there real quick. Some people seem to think that Maris is going to be a bad guy, and that possibly the wish has something to do with him. Like, people think that Maris was the reason why Moro escaped, and that this was all their big plan so that they both can get a wish out of this. Hey, it's possible. I think that would be a cool twist. I'm not really going to put too much weight on that now, because I don't think enough information has been shown for that to, I don't know, be like painstakingly obvious. But I do like the theory. I think it is plausible, but we'll have to see what happens. But as for what, without the twists and everything, I think Moro wished for the Lord of Lords / Boo's like nullification ability, like the ability that we saw at the beginning of chapter 43 when he like took Moros' power away from him. I think Moros wished for that move to not be able to be used anymore. Like, he wished for that move to like be nerfed or something. Like, I think it's just gonna get to the point of where like Boo and the Lord of Lords tries to use that technique on him, that it's just not going to work, and that was his wish. He was like, I wish so that you couldn't use that move anymore. But now let's get into the end of this chapter, and we find out that the Lord of Lords can switch to his original form, back and forth from Fat Boo to him. This is the first time that we're finding out that he could do this, but I guess this is just an ability that he has after unlocking his memories. It's not really explained how he's able to do this, but he can, so we just have to go on board with it. And I think it's pretty cool, because now we're seeing this character in real time, not just in flashback, and he is way more personable and more intelligent than just simply Fat Boo or his in-between form, like the Professor Boo, I'll call it for now. So this is pretty cool that he's being introduced to the story. We've got a new character here, a new character with a whole bunch of tricks, a whole bunch of knowledge, and information on Moro, so the more the merrier. But like I said, it's going back to him trying to use that nullification ability on Moro, like his trump card, like his unique attack that it's said that he invented to take down guys like Moro, or specifically for Moro. So I assume that the wish is just going to nullify this, because this is where the next chapter is going. Like, we see Goku, Vegeta, the Lord of Lords, they all instant transmission to where Moro is. Or they're instant transmissioning somewhere. That's pretty much it for the chapter. Let me know what you thought about this one. Did you like it? What do you think Moro's wish is? And do you think Maris is going to turn out to be a bad guy, possibly connected to Moro? Let me know, and if you liked the video, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. It gives you access to a weekly Q&A video that I do in this channel every week. And if you're looking for some sweet Dragon Ball merch, Dragon Ball Super specifically, or a shirt or hoodie or whatever, check out the link in my description. You can use code MEME to get 5% off. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.